Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Heather and this is La Casita Jardin, and that is our Palram Canopia, I believe is how it's pronounced. I could be wrong. Greenhouse. And we are going to do it's been a bit more than a year, but we're going to do a 1-year review at this point because I think this would be really helpful in regards to this style of greenhouse. I remember back when I was having to do some research online and looking for some help resources, there wasn't a whole lot of information on these guys, and honestly, there probably should be more information online about them, especially on YouTube, because they're pretty darn awesome. The pros for us have outweighed the cons, and the cons really, once you get past them, aren't that bad. So let's go on ahead and get started with this 1-year review, and we're going to do all of the pros first and we will do the cons last. So let's get this video started. Pro number 1, and this was one of the primary reasons that we went with the Palram brand to begin with. It is sturdy. It is really sturdy, and I can honestly say that, and I wish I had taken the time to at least take some photos and to have filmed it, because when we had first started building the structure and we had moved it out here into the spot, we hadn't anchored it into the ground yet. That being said, it was probably very unwise that we had not done so, because we ended up getting a very random windstorm that I got 5 minutes notice on, and so it got tossed into the back ditch, literally. So I had to drag it out of our back ditch. Kid you not, I drug it out of the back ditch and back up onto the property, and I tucked it inside into our garage to protect it, because we were supposed to evidently have high winds for 3 days. And I don't know if my phone just didn't notify me or what happened, but yeah, so it is really sturdy. And besides that, since it has been up, it has gone through 60 and 70 mile an hour winter winds, which is what we get the most of here. So that random spring wind that we got was very odd. We normally get hit really hard with northbound winter winds, and it gets full force winter winds. There is next to nothing blocking the wind from hitting it, and it is still in great shape. We have no cracking, had next to no damage even after it was tossed. The only thing that ended up breaking were the plastic corner braces, which we replaced ourselves. I'll explain that a little bit later. But let's go on ahead and move on to pro number 2, which is low profile. If you are looking for a greenhouse that is less conspicuous, I guess you could say, and you are wanting something that is a little bit more neutral, this guy is definitely the way to go. It has been a nice backdrop. It is very simple, very clean to look at. Oh, and it's easy to clean. That's a bonus, like, pro right there that I didn't even have listed on my pros and cons list. But yeah, it's easy to clean, it's easy to maintain, very low profile, and it's just a beautiful backdrop, and it allows the garden to shine. Instead of making it a focus, it allows the garden to be a focus, but you still know that there's a greenhouse there. All right, number 3, small space friendly. it is small space friendly. So the size of this guy, it is 7 feet tall at the peak here, but it is 6 feet wide and 4 foot deep. Now we probably could have upgraded spatially to, I think it's the Harmony is the next size up. Don't quote me on that. But the Harmony is 6 foot wide by 6 foot deep. And we definitely had the space to support that. We kind of regret not going on ahead and doing that, but at the end of the day, we have a greenhouse that is really, really functional, works really well for us, and that basically gives us everything that we need. The only bonus to having a slightly larger size would have been we could have stored a lot more of our garden stuff out here in the greenhouse over the winter, as opposed to having to store them in the garage, aka all the fancy pots and a few tools. But so otherwise, the small space, the low profile of it, if you are in a small space and you aren't wanting everything to necessarily be about the greenhouse, the Palram Canopia is a really good option. Number 4 is going to be the customer service. So we did have to contact customer service, I think twice, because we were missing a random piece in the build, and it was just this small little piece that didn't end up in our kit. But everybody was super nice, everybody was super friendly, and they got us the spare part, or well, I guess the replacement part would be a more correct way of saying that. They got us the replacement part in 3 days and didn't charge us anything. So great resources there. Enjoyed working and talking with the company. So as far as that goes, if you have issues in that regard, Palram is a really good company, really good company. All right, so let's go on ahead and move on to the cons. So there's really only 2 cons to having a Palram. The number 1 con that I could say would be in regards to the directions and the build, because we had, number 1, parts that weren't, you could tell that they had been stickered, that there had been something there at one point in time. However, all that was there was the glue, and so we didn't know the part number. That made building this guy challenging in and of itself. The directions on top of that were not exactly clear. So they had pictures in there, but they really weren't as graphically clear as they needed to be. We had certain parts that we had to go back and undo other parts and flip around because you had to mirror image them, and the directions didn't show that. So as somebody with limited building experience, that's a little bit of a challenge when you don't have that kind of clarity. There's also no text in there to give you any reference, I guess, on top of that. So it is literally just pictures and step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and pictures. It doesn't give you any extra hints or explanations of things, and that would have been very beneficial. The second con that I had was what I said we were going to talk about, which were the corner braces and the way that it's anchored. So the very bottom corners were a plastic piece, and we didn't realize that until we got it in. And honestly, when we went to purchase it, if we had realized that those 4 corner pieces were just black plastic, that probably would have prevented us from purchasing the Palram. However, when it got tossed into the ditch, we did end up having those break, which turned out to be a awesome thing, because our neighbor came in and he had some extra treated lumber and literally just drilled a hole in it, and we were able to, along the bottom, screw the Palram in to the treated lumber and then just drive down some stakes, and it's not moving. It's not moving. I pity the person who feels the need to move it. It's not coming. There's no way we can get it out because we drove it down that deep. So that is the only other con that we really have as far as the structure goes, because the rest of it is sturdy as all get out, even though it is a light aluminum. I was literally able to, after dragging it out of the ditch, you know, lift it to get it into the garage. It is that light. So those are the pros and cons of the Palram Canopia Greenhouse. And of course it is after the 1 year mark, but we've had it for a solid year and solid growing season. So I kind of felt that this was a good time to pop on here and let you guys know about it. If you have any questions regarding the Palram that I did not cover, go on ahead and leave a comment down below this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And we will see you on the next video, guys. So as always, keep it simple, natural, and essential. We'll catch you later.